Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is a review of the 1987 direct-to-video horror film, Killing Spree. Now, before I get into sharing my thoughts on this awful, absolutely atrocious movie, I want to give a very special shout out to Brock, once again, for requesting this particular review. And if you have a film you would like to hear my thoughts on, or a topic you would like me to discuss, feel free to donate to my PayPal. The link will be in the video description. Now, let's tear right into Killing Spree. This movie is one of many when it comes to a grade Z, super low budget, direct-to-video movie that just absolutely overloaded the video shelves in the late 80s. When the late 80s rolled around, there was just an absolute cavalcade of crappy direct-to-video movies, especially in the horror genre. And this is just one out of many directed by Tim Ritter, who did a lot of these films. Now, I'm not going to be too hard on Tim because, for all intents and purposes, Tim definitely has a passion for his craft. He may not be as talented or as naturally gifted as other directors are, but he still knows his way around a camera. And I don't really think his direction is really one of the biggest problems that this film has. The film definitely has some moments where the direction leaves a lot to be desired. It's one of those directing jobs where there are moments where it really does show the amateur roots of the film's filmmaker. But then there's other moments where you could see, okay, the guy, at least he's ambitious. At least he's willing to go for the gusto. And that's something that I definitely did notice about this particular film. He knows how to set up the shots in terms of how they're blocked. He knows how to use different points of views when it comes to sequences and shots with multiple different actors. He can employ some interesting angles to add to the atmosphere in certain sequences. I think there are too many times where he goes into the trick of just having somebody look straight into the camera and say their lines to create a different dynamic in terms of how a scene is blocked. I also don't feel he's able to really make the super rudimentary setting of just one house look really interesting or unique in any way, other than when he might bathe a sequence in a particular kind of lighting. But yeah, Tim Ritter, I don't think his direction in this is great. I don't think it's even technically good. I would say it's below average, but hey, I mean, at least there are some shots that actually show some competent ability behind the camera. And that's something that I can't say for a lot of these grade Z direct-to-video movies. Now, he also wrote the film. And I will give Tim this. Some of the nightmare sequences are really creative, especially the one that gives a whole new meaning to the term giving head.
Just stop it!
Mason, he doesn't want you. Either way, you lose. If you kill her, she's gone. If you don't, she's gone anyhow. You stupid ass, you.
I need more than one man, Tom. I need hundreds to satisfy me.
And she gives great head. Show 'em, doll.
It does have this zany, off-kilter feel and vibe and sense of humor to it that at times is genuinely funny. And I felt that there were some clever moments in this script. When it comes to ideas and concepts, the script actually isn't that bad. But when it comes to anything else, it sucks. It is so shitty. Characterization, lines of dialogue that don't have anything to do with being a joke, sequences that are intended to, I guess, be sexy but are the complete opposite. Uh, this film, in a lot of ways, is structured story-wise like a porno movie, but it doesn't really show any tits. It doesn't show any ass. It doesn't really give you the goods. So you have all these sequences that are set up with this our main character's wife, who is apparently cheating on him. But of course, there's a twist later that, spoiler, you find out that she's not actually cheating on him. She was just writing some stories for a romance magazine. But by that point, it's already too late because her poor husband's already gone on a killing spree. But it's structured in a way where, okay, it's showing you various different sequences, various different moments where she is supposedly banging the courier, or banging the electrician, or banging the gardener, or banging her husband's best friend. And the problem, like I said, it's structured like a porn movie, but you don't have any of the tits, the ass, or the sex appeal. So it just is incredibly tedious. I forwarded through a lot of those parts because it wasn't sexy. Tim Ritter didn't know how to direct a sex scene worth a damn. And it also didn't help either that there really wasn't anything worth a damn to begin with. I mean, there was nothing worth coming to. Like, why? Who cares? Like, if you're gonna have that kind of setup, don't do that. Don't give me the softest of soft core. Like, I mean, instead of hardcore, you give me soft serve. Like, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. But another thing I do want to mention in terms of the script that actually did work was another twist where the husband's victims, they come to life as zombies and in various different stages of decomposition. I thought, okay, I didn't mind that idea. Also, the kills, some of them are really sufficiently brutal, and some of the gore and makeup effects are actually pretty good for a low budget. There are some moments where the makeup effects really do show how cheap the film is, but then there's other moments where, hey, for the low budget they had a certain visceral look to them. So I definitely feel that they succeeded in what they were trying to do. But there are other sequences though where it's painfully obvious, like that the head is just made out of fucking styrofoam, or the latex is really really shoddy, and then it's shot in a way that doesn't do it any favors and makes it so it's obviously just a fake gore effect. There's other moments where there's just so much blood that you can tell that it's fake in that way. But at the same time, when it comes to this kind of movie, I'm okay if you just want to drown the screen in blood, because that's definitely a selling point. But yeah, like I said, when it comes to concepts, this script actually isn't that bad. But speaking of concepts, the kills. There's some really inventive kills in this. The husband kills the electrician with a ceiling fan that has machetes attached to it. There's some other bits here and there, like he drops a screwdriver on this one guy's head and then says this legendary line of dialogue where he's all like, "You screw my wife, I screw drive your head." So yeah, there's some fun to be had with the movie when it comes to those particular set pieces with the story. The problem is there's so much dead air. There's so much aspects of this story that you don't give a fuck about, and it becomes incredibly boring as a result. Because like I said, a large chunk of this movie is this porno plot with his wife supposedly cheating on him with all these different guys. Now, when it comes to this movie, I'm just cracking up thinking about it because it is absolutely one of the film's biggest highlights, and also one of its biggest lowlights. The acting in this film is abysmal. This film has some absolutely atrocious, just horrendous acting. And the worst of them all is Asbestos Felt as the lead, Tom Russo. But he's bad in a way that it turns into so bad it's good. Like I was able to watch this movie at least once just for his performance, because it is the kind of legendarily lame performance that has to be seen to be believed. I'm just gonna edit together and throw you a super cut of Asbestos Felt right here, so enjoy the badness.
Hi, hon.
Oh, God, I'm glad to see you. You're the best thing I've seen all day.
Oh, rough day, huh?
The worst. God, I'm so tired. It's unbelievable.
I hate to be the one to bring this up, but Ben's coming over for dinner tonight.
Oh, no, not tonight. Not that jackass. He's all I need. Hey, what's going on here?
Nothing. Why? We're talking about old times.
Yeah, I'll bet. I can't even leave my wife alone for 2 minutes with my best friend. Get out of here before I really get mad.
Tom, don't you think you're overreacting?
I think you're jumping to the wrong conclusions, Tom.
Hey, you've clearly overstayed your welcome, pal. Now get lost. Get out of my house right now before I throw you out, you big ass.
Listen, you wouldn't happen to have a toot, would you?
What?
You know, grass, marijuana, joint, coke, whatever. Do you happen to have any?
Boy, you become a real partier there, Ben. Let me go upstairs and check.
Everybody must get stoned.
Hey! How does it feel, Ben? How does it feel to dip your wick twice in one day?
What?
You're a horny old bastard, aren't you?
What the hell are you talking about?
I know what you did, you son of a bitch. Just like in my dreams. So I got your girlfriend to give me some head too, buddy. Her head! Toot a while on this, bud!
Looks like she's running all right to me.
No, just wait a minute. Just stops for no reason. You'll see.
Funny, I've never seen fan blades like these before. And you got this thing awfully low, too.
How about a haircut, slime ball?
You did a good job on the TV. Great picture. Oh, I just opened the back just to make sure the proper voltage was running through. Bastard. Yes, do you pick packages up at the home? Yeah, I need to send one out, but I just don't have time to get there. Well, good. So you can send a man out? Okay, it's 666 Peerless Drive. I'll be waiting.
Hey, that's quite a hat you got there, partner. Where'd you get that?
Shit, I had this a long time.
You screw my wife, I screw drive your head. Here, take your pink faggot hat, you stupid country motherfucker.
Oh man, it is. It's just absolute awfulness. He puts that capital A in awful in terms of acting. but like it's so bad that you can't look away, and then you can't help but just laugh your ass off at how bad he is. I mean, look at his appearance too. He looks like a disheveled Daryl Hall, or Rhett from Rhett and Link, Good Mythical Morning, who just let himself go and just stop giving a fuck. It's like it's like Rhett decided, will it homicidal maniac? But anyway, yeah, that just, I mean, words can't express, really. Words cannot express how bad Asbestos Felt is in this. But at least he's bad in a way that transcends into good. Like, legitimately, like, oh, okay. Kind of, like Eric Freeman kind of acting. At least he's having fun. At least he's going for the jugular. At least he doesn't sound like he's completely worn out and dead inside, like his co-star, Courtney Lercara, who plays Lisa Russo. And apparently they flew her all the way from California to be in this movie. Not worth it. Should have cast some local actress. It wasn't worth the extra time, effort, and money. Wasn't worth the plane ticket. Because I guess they brought her in for her sex appeal, but she doesn't really have much sex appeal, because she's not confident on camera. I'm just thinking about how dead inside she is. That made my brain cells die, so that's why I forgot how to talk there for a second. But yeah, she is really just an absolute wooden mannequin here in this movie. The rest of the cast doesn't do any better. Raymond Carbone is Ben Seltzer. Bruce Paquette is the delivery man. Joel D. Wynkoop as the TV repairman. Kieran Turner is the lawn man. That guy in particular, oof. His line delivery is just painful. Painful to watch and to listen to. Yeah, everyone else in this cast sucks. Can't act. And they also aren't bad in a way that it's so remarkably awful that you actually learn to like it, like Asbestos Felt. So it's not bad in that way. It's just bad and hard to watch. Yeah, this is one of those movies where there's really not a whole lot that happens, other than when there are moments where there's gore and there's some blood and Asbestos Felt is running around being fucking crazy. Here's the thing. I'm really curious about Asbestos Felt. Where is he? Everyone's like, where's Eric Freeman? I'm like, where's Asbestos Felt? And where did he come up with that name? Because there's no way that's his real name. There's no way in hell that's his real name. If it is, I would like to know why and how. But yeah, there's really not a whole lot that happens, and there's really not a whole lot to say. Asbestos Felt plays this guy named Tom Russo, who works as, I think, a mechanic at a airplane hangar or some shit. His paycheck gets cut because there are cut downs going on at his work. So his girlfriend, unbeknownst to him, actually it's his wife, she decides to try to do some freelance romance writing in a diary so she can make some money, but she doesn't decide to tell him that. So he finds her diary and assumes, like most people would, that she's just writing about her sexy escapades with all these other people other than him. So that causes him to become unhinged, and he goes on a rampage, and he kills people in various different bloody ways, and then they come back to life by the end of the movie, and they try to kill him and his wife. They try to set it up to make him kill her and that'll make them satisfied because they're zombies, because they're not going to be able to rest until they get revenge on Tom, or get their just desserts. So a lot of ways it's similar to an EC Comics sort of story, and I like that kind of stuff. And that's the thing, the gore here, Asbestos Felt's off the wall, just horrible but insanely entertaining performance, and the overall concept. This might have been made for a really fun segment in like a low budget horror anthology. Like if this was like 20 minutes, then it could actually work quite well, and I actually would think it's legitimately good for a low budget anthology kind of story, just for the sheer weirdness of it all. But the fact that it doesn't, it's not really a part of an anthology, and it's like an hour and 20 something minutes, it really does drag, and it's really boring, and it's the incompetence of the production and from the acting and other elements, including the score, which is just your typical low budget half-ass Casio score that you hear in like pretty much all of these movies, or some no talent jackass behind a keyboard decides he's going to be a film composer. No offense to the composer, but this music sucks. And, Perry Monroe, like, this isn't your, don't quit. I hope you didn't quit your day job, and to say the least. Cinematography that's less than impressive, and, editing that's pretty bad, because there's a lot of moments where the film just stops at moments that are really awkward, and then the film continues, and for some reason the editor decided to use the fade out option way too much, so it makes it look like a TV movie. I really don't like it when movies do that, because it makes it look like you're watching the TV version of the film that you're watching, because it's not, the fade outs are not used in a way that accentuate the film. They're just, the scene just stops, it fades out, then fades in, and I'm like, what, was there a commercial break supposed to be? Was there supposed to be a commercial at that particular point in time? I'm not a fan of that editing style. But I will give the makeup effects artists, Joel Harlow and Mark L. Peterson, I'll give them credit for what they were able to accomplish with this movie. There's a fair amount of gore in it. There's a disembowelment. There's a guy who gets his head chopped off. There's a guy who gets burnt in a barrel after he got a screwdriver dropped into his head, and then he's all like skeletonized. And there's this grandmother who gets like a claw hammer to the chin, and gets her chin and like whole like bottom half of her face ripped off, and then she shows up again as a reanimated like corpse with like half her face missing. So yeah, and then the sequence that I mentioned earlier, that gives a whole new meaning to the term giving head. So yeah, there's a lot of ambitious and honestly fairly well done makeup effects for a super, super low budget movie in this film. But that doesn't mean it's a good movie. Like, this movie sucks. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, Killing Spree, that's a good one. That's a classic. That's a gem. But I've definitely seen worse. Like, this isn't like on the level of Alien Dead or Cannibal Terror or Curse of the Blue Lights or anything like that for me. But it's still a really lame, lackluster, just bad movie. But I would recommend it if the idea intrigues you, and also if you got a kick out of seeing some of the scenes that I shared with Asbestos Felt, the legend that is Asbestos Felt. If you enjoyed those, check it out sometime. Just for laughs. Like, kick back with like a beer and like a bag of chips or something, and just laugh at it with some friends. But yeah, I really don't know what else to say about the movie. It has like a twist ending that it was pretty predictable. And it's definitely not scary, despite its attempts to try to do so. Although I don't even think it really was trying that hard to be scary to begin with. One more thing I wanted to mention about it is that there's a lot of shots where people are reading Fangoria magazine, and I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that little touch that Tim Ritter threw in there, that Asbestos Felt's character Tom was a fan of Fangoria. And there's even a sequence where his next door neighbor, the grandmother, it's not really a grandmother, but she's somebody's grandmother. The older lady, she fucking steals it. She jacks his Fangoria magazine. I'm like, that's worth a claw hammer to the chin right there. You know, you're gonna jack somebody's Fangoria. You know, never touch another man's Fangoria magazine. But yeah, this is one of those movies that it's just the epitome of the Z grade horror film from the late 80s. If you've seen one of these, you've seen them all. They throw in some gore. They throw in, they usually try to have some sex appeal, but this film makes the most half-assed attempt possible at that. I would say the film would be better just with the presence of some ample tits and ass, but it doesn't even really give you that. Like I've mentioned numerous times already. I'm repeating myself multiple times because, like I said, there's really not a whole lot to say about this movie. And it's not like it's a very complicated or complex plot. But there's also a certain charm about these movies, and I can see why, you know, there are people who are legitimate fans of these kind of films. And, you know, kudos to the cast and crew for enduring, you know, ridiculous circumstances, because this film, this was a labor of love, but it was shot in an extremely hot summer in August. The nighttime burial scene had to be reshot entirely, and it was shot over the course of 12 hot days, where the average shooting time was 14 to 16 hours a day. So regardless of the overall quality of the movie, I gotta give kudos to the cast and crew for enduring such hellacious shooting conditions, and turning in a film that, while it's not really very good, it's also not totally worthless. So I gotta give him, you know, credit for that. Pretty low bar, but hey, you know, when it comes to these Z-grade direct-to-video low-budget horror movies, there are so many of them that just make you want to claw your eyes out. And I never really felt that way about this film for the most part, despite how bad it was, because of, you know, the aspects I've told you about. The bits of gore, the creativity, some of the shots by Tim Ritter, and just Asbestos Felt. I mean, this is just I mean, the guy was awesomely awful in so many ways. Anyway, that's my thoughts and my review of Killing Spree. And as always, thanks for watching my review, and I'll see you later. See ya.